Hey, welcome to Unpack Radio. I'm your host, Norris Pope Johnson. I got with me DJ Smoke, and Oak has his cup, and I have my accountability circle. That's what I like to call it now. You know what I mean? We can talk about fitness all day long, but that's the boring shit. We're gonna hold each other accountable for our actions.
Yeah.
Last time I almost made Ryan cry, so this should be interesting. I got my buddy Ryan. I got my buddy Steve. Unfortunately, Kevin had to cancel. He had something to do with his wife. Brother Forrest had an emergency, so he had to cancel. But hey, we're going to have a good time. My first question is always, we're going to start with Steve. We're going to go to Ryan. Then we're going to go to DJ Smoke, and I'm also going to jump in. My first question is always, how's your mental health?
I've been doing well lately. There have been some personal struggles in my life, surrounding some friendships that are breaking up, and my what was a side business, my personal business, coaching powerlifting, has kind of become a larger responsibility than it once was, on top of my full time job. But I'm beyond blessed, and I'm happy to say that I'm in a good place mentally with everything.
Brother Ryan, first question is always, how's your mental health doing, brother?
My mental health is doing good. I'm improving in the gym, coming back from a gnarly injury. Feels so good to have some good lifts. It shouldn't, I should be happy to be just a regular guy going to the gym, but the squats and deadlifts creeping back up's making my mental health improve. And on the personal side, opening up more and talking about sort of my youth and some of my struggles back in the day is new for me, and then that's been helping my mental health in general. Like, say, when we all opened up last call, I've been processing some of that, and it's been doing quite well.
I'm happy to help then. DJ Smoke, how's your mental health, my friend?
Oh, my mental health is awesome right now. I mean, feeling good. It's a new year. Hey, listen, man. Whatever we went through last year, leave that last year. I'm blessed.
As well, my mental health right currently, today as we stand, is currently doing outstanding. My first question is, like, people going to be wondering, why are we qualified to be talking about holding people accountable and controlling the monster within? So, Brother Steve, I know you have a past, so give us a little glimpse of your past.
All right. Well, some of the people that don't know me and aren't aware, let's see, from the age of like 17 to probably about 25, I was like hopelessly addicted to numerous drugs, like cocaine and heroin mostly. And then through the consequences of my own actions and the wreckage of my past, I ended up getting incarcerated for 3.5 years in some pretty gnarly places. And once I came out on the other side, I was literally a changed individual. And I embarked on creating a life that I could be proud of and that I would be happy with. And in the probably 6 years since then, been very successful at doing so. But there have been struggles along the way, and it's always not always an easy thing. You know what I mean?
Brother Ryan, can you tell us why you are qualified to give a counsel to these young guys on the rise? Can you give us a little sneak peek of your past, please, and thank you?
My past sounds almost exactly the same as Steve, except I didn't get caught. I was homeless on the streets at the age of 18 till about 24, 25. Some ups and downs when I was ups when I was a gangster, and downs when I was living in a bus shelter with a needle in my arm, selling bags of meth to survive. So there's all that roller coaster, easy come, easy go. But I, managed to get through all that, go to college, become a successful business person, powerlifting career, all of that stuff. And, I came through the other side just like Steve did, and it's been nothing but being blessed ever since, and just keeping my nose to the grindstone in that hustle. But the fact that I went through hell and came back, I got something that other people don't have, and Steve or you guys all do too. It's called life experience. You can have all the degrees or pieces of paper on the wall, but if you had a charmed life, went to university, and lived a great life, doesn't mean you didn't have struggles. But, the real world experience kind of sometimes trumps a piece of paper on the wall that says I'm a counselor or a shrink or a mentor or something like that.
DJ Smoke, do you want to be open and honest about the truth for why you're qualified to have this conversation?
Yeah.
Hey, go for it, bro. Hey, live your truth, man. Why you feel like you're qualified to be in this conversation right
now? I've been through a lot. And accountability is something that I didn't take when I went through my divorce. You know what I'm saying? That was a lot. Even in my past, everything I went through, like you said, the system. I'm in the system. Trust me, I'm in the system too. So I understand it. To get back, you know what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand that you can still get back from whatever you did in your past, and you can just grow from that. And I'm in a growing stage of looking past my past and what I did. It can mess you up though, your background, all that bullshit. But where I'm at, I'm just blessed. I'm just blessed to be free. To be honest, you know what I'm saying? We free. We living. I got a beautiful daughter. That's all I want out the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't behind the bars. You know, some people, they don't make it. They don't make it. Like, we sitting here and we talking and we having a good time. Think about it. Think about what everybody been through. Think about if you really was facing life or something like that. You wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to us right now. So, hey, I'm blessed. Truly blessed.
All right. And, you know, but of course myself, you know, I lived a very crazy childhood. And I look back on it and I almost appreciate it because even though my mother was an absolute crazy person, an alcoholic, she did the best she could with the resources she had. And she probably was living in her own pain. And I wish that she could have these type of conversations now and she probably could have healed. But hey, those back in the day when they didn't believe in that type of stuff, so they took it out on their kids. My first question about the ego and accountability and controlling the fucking monster. I know Steve and maybe Ryan's going to enjoy it the most, but we must hold this person accountable because he's absolutely have been proven to be a human piece of garbage. An individual claimed that he got all his gains from eating raw liver and working out excessively. And multiple times on every podcast when he was asked directly to his face, have you used anything? He said flat out no. Now this individual has been proven to be a liar and a cheat, and now looking at a federal lawsuit for being a liar and a cheat. And I appreciate Andrew Schultz for what he said to this individual. Andrew looked him directly in the face and said, it's not about how much weight you can lift. It's not how many muscles you can put on. What make you a man is how you treat your family. So shout out to Andrew Schultz, because that was the most realest shit ever that someone could say to you. But hey, how do you guys feel about that individual? We're going to start off with Steve. I'm not even going to use his name, but we all know the hell I'm talking about.
I've never really had terribly strong opinions about him from the get-go. As a quote-unquote professional in the industry, I've always known he was using. And I was somewhat surprised to find out that other people actually believed it. Similar to like the Mike O'Hearn thing. Like, we all know dude's been juicing for the last 40 years, but once you start that lie and you tell that lie on camera, on recording, you have to perpetuate it at that point, especially when sponsorship and money's involved. So I've always known he was lying. I kind of took it for granted that so many people didn't know. Obviously, it's incredibly wrong to lie blatantly on so many direct questions, and there's obviously major ethical issues with that. But I can't say that I'm too familiar with a lot of his practices or some of his I'll call them shenanigans. I don't follow him at all. He's not really in the powerlifting scene, and I try to stay pretty focused. But I do know that he lied numerous times about steroid usage, and then subsequently was outed by other, I guess, YouTube personalities would be a good way to put it. So the whole situation's unfortunate. It's obviously a good example of why you should not tell a lie in the first place that you then have to perpetuate. But I don't really have terribly strong opinions on him as a person, mainly because I don't know him. Because, I've obviously made mistakes and done bad things and told lies myself. I went to prison for stealing and robbing. So I try to bear that in mind with the understanding that I don't know him or his motives, but obviously you shouldn't lie.
Bro, Ryan, how do you feel about this individual?
I have some mixed feelings on him. I followed this quite thoroughly, this whole thing, just out of sheer interest the whole time. I can understand why people lie, but the real problem I have is, like, he could have 1,000 reasons to lie. Legality, sponsorships, family reasons, what states he living in, different stuff like that. There could be 100 different reasons why he has to say, no, this is all natty. But what you do then in that case is you avoid the question. You don't put yourself in a situation. You don't go on podcast to say you're natty on purpose. You dodge the question like The Rock or like some other celebrities just matrix out of the question, which is the right thing to do if you can't admit it for legality, sponsorships. Like, I'm not going to tell another man what to do ever, or expect them to give me an answer that they're not willing to give. For there could be 20 good reasons he had, but then he perpetuated it, as Steve mentioned, and on and on and on, and I'm natty, and then used it to sell and used it to this. Anyone who's been in the gym for 20 minutes knows the guy was juiced to the gills. Like, you cannot look like that as a human being. So there's a onus is on the people as well to not believe everything that's pitched. But it was, and I can understand him not necessarily admitting it, but I think he should have took the approach of avoiding the question or don't put yourself in situations, right? Like The Rock, for example, I believe will literally get up and walk out of an interview if you ask that question.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So he just,
I believe that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So like, and he'll say beforehand,
You're not.
I'll answer any question you want except this, or this interview is over and I will bury you in lawyers. Right. That's a better answer than claiming natty all over the place, even, square to your face. Like, he could have just avoided it. And that would have been the right thing to do. Like, first off, the right thing to do is honesty and education pieces. And what I'm selling, those ancestral tenants and these liver supplements, are in addition to what I do to help me out. It all still could have worked out fine, right? So it was really just the perpetuating the lie that he didn't have to perpetuate in the first place if he kept his mouth shut would have been the right answer. But I can't fault the guy none of us know what his legal situation is or different things like that where he could admit it or not.
Brother Smoke, we can't use his individual name because we don't want to part of his lawyers right now. But how do you feel about this individual? See, Safeway, individual.
I gotta say individual.
Hey man, I'm not. That's like Casa Sosa. You don't say his name.
I mean, I guess he's trying to do it the politically correct way. I mean, he, like you said, what Ryan was saying, he's trying to feed his family. He's trying to pay bills and stuff like that. So anything that can dodge that, of course he's going to act like that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, he's not going to tell the truth. Most bodybuilders don't tell the truth. Think about it. Who do you think, let's go back to the 80s, which bodybuilder you think was not juicing? I can't think of one.
Beforehand, before he started kicking ass and taking names?
Yeah.
Ronnie. Before he started kicking ass.
You talking about Ron Coleman?
Yeah, before he started really kicking ass, that first look was his natural, and then after that, he dipped into the secret sauce most likely. But hey, he had to do what he had to do.
But you see what he had now. You see what happened to him.
I think most people can accept it.
I
think most people can accept that steroids are a part of bodybuilding as a sport. But
I do.
He's not technically a bodybuilder. It would almost be more appropriate to look at like celebrities or athletes or actors.
Mm-hmm.
And in that some are somewhat honest, and then there are others who are dishonest, and there are others who avoid the question. But anybody who believes that any of the Marvel superheroes are not on steroids, Thor, you kidding me? Like Superman, Wolverine, you think these dudes aren't juiced to the gills? I mean, but everybody, it's one of those unspoken things that you don't ask the question and they don't give the answer. But as far as bodybuilding goes, I think that everybody can accept that steroids have been a part of bodybuilding since their creation in the late 50s. Well, since they became popular in the late 50s.
The only thing I really have to say about that individual as a reformed fuckboy, I saw your apology, and it was not genuine. If it was, you would have took off that fucking red piece of shorts you wear, you would have took off that dumbass hat you wear from Davy Crockett, and you would have put on a fucking shirt. Who are you playing with, my guy? You're doing a fucking bad act, and you're going to come out there with some fucking booty shorts, no shirt, and a Daniel Boone fucking hat, and this is your apology. As a reformed fuckboy, I done did lots of fucking apologies, and lots of them have been really fucking serious. That shit right there was the ultimate curve. But hey, I'm gonna mind my business. Let's go to the real big boy questions. Recently, my lovely wife asked a very important question, and I'm going to give it to you guys. My wife asked me recently, was I tired of being accountable to her? And my answer was no, because I believe every man should have someone he should be accountable to or someone he should be accountable for. But that's my own opinion. So, Steve, should men want to be accountable to their wives or their children?
I think that's a terribly broad question, and I would kind of need you to narrow that down. So, are we talking accountable in the sense of like she controls what I say and do? She controls the money I spend. She controls my thoughts. Like, how accountable are we talking here? Or do you mean that I feel a sense of responsibility?
When I give you a promise, or I give you my word, or I say I'm going to do something,
Okay.
I'm there for you.
Okay,
Accountable mean, as you know, when you're out with me, you have no fear of the dangers out there in society because you know my husband has my best interest in heart.
Okay,
Or accountable mean I ain't got 2 girlfriends on the side because I'm a liar and a piece of shit.
Yeah, so a sense of responsibility. I see what you're saying. So do I think it's important for men to have a sense of responsibility to their wives and children? Yes, insofar as they have wives or children, but I think it's also important to recognize that not all men do have wives and children. I do think that the key word that I'm using here is responsible, and I think that it's important and even critical, like as a society progresses, that men learn to take on responsibility again, because the current generation, in my opinion, isn't terribly good at it, both in terms of like, accountability for their own actions and then responsibility for the things they need to do. So I think that as men, it's important that we are responsible to things and for things, and that, in my opinion, the more responsibility you can take on, it kind of lends to a stronger character. Right? It kind of builds more ability.
You see it? Yeah. Brother Ryan, and we have a question. Hold on, DJ Smoke, because DJ Smoke got the good eyes. I'm not sweating.
Yeah. So somebody from
John Mabine. I know who it is. I just don't feel like going there.
Okay.
He's got a monster bench press.
Yeah. All right. He's tapping in.
Okay, no question.
No, yeah, he's just tapping in.
Brother Ryan.
I think so 100%. One of the ways I live my life is a man only has 3 things in this world: his balls, his back, and his word. And you never break none of them for nobody. I gave that woman my word that I would be her man. What kind of man am I if I'm not accountable to that? Even from a chauvinistic point of view for a moment, like I respect my wife and I'd be dead without her because of the path I was on, in the beginning of our relationship. So I owe her everything, a piece of it. But I'm not being accountable to myself if I gave someone my word and broke it. You know what I mean? Like it's just that simple. Right? And then in terms of just it's just how I live. Like I have to be accountable to her. I have to be accountable to myself. And that's the same thing because I gave her my word. And I have a healthy respect for her as well in a funny way. Like a wise man once said, there's only 3 things in this world he fears. And that's Kimberly Johnson, and Kimberly Johnson. So I kind of have that respect for my wife as well. As she could proverbially break a foot off in my ass and I would listen, right? So, but our goals are common. We're trying to progress ourselves. We're trying to better ourselves as a team, right? So absolutely, I'm accountable to her for her sake and for my own because I gave her my word.
Brother Smoke, you have a lovely daughter. So you be responsible and accountable to make sure that she's safe in this world.
You damn right. Listen, and now I'm gonna talk about this. I hope I'm about to take it left. No, I'm not really. But listen, if you got kids or your wife, so you got family, instead of doing a will, you should set up a living trust. You know what I'm saying?
Educate my friend.
Oh no, I'm gonna talk the talk. So yeah. So I'm currently setting up a trust for my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Because a will, you gotta go through all the bullshit, and then you gotta go through the prorate and all that. What I'm saying is, when you go, then think about it. Say you bodybuilding and all that. Listen, it's a health risk, right? You don't know where you're gonna go. Nobody knows. You gotta set your kids up. Get you a trust, living trust to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's the best way to do it. And then you save $10,000 maybe $10,000 to $15,000 because the prorate. Because if you do a will, people don't know that. You do a will, you're gonna spend when you're done, they're gonna spend like $10,000 to $15,000 trying to figure out some shit, going to court and all that. Set your trust up. But back to what we was talking about. What I'm saying is, because I had to educate some people, because a lot of people don't know about this. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all got a trust for your family. The will is not where you want to go. The will is not where you want to go. But who was that? Mac Bean?
Yeah, he said something about protecting.
Oh, okay. So he said protect the family. So basically, what I just said, off of what my guy Mac Bean is saying, protect the wife and children. Yeah, protect it. So set them up. Something happened to you. How is your family set up? Are they gonna be good? Now that's a real question. I'm asking the whole audience.
It's something down to me.
Yeah, like is your family good? If something was to happen to y'all guys, is your family protected?
So you're saying if something happened right now?
Right now, like today.
Would your family be?
Would your family be good? Would your family be good?
Okay, that's a good question, Steve. Right now, you done. Would your family structure be okay without you?
So if I die, there are upwards of 4 life insurance policies that will immediately pay out to different members of my family, to the tune of over $1 million. Being that I'm 30 years old, I don't have a final will and testament set up regarding my assets because at 30 years old, having recently gone through a bad breakup, I don't have any assets. So at this point, no, but I'm hearing what you're saying about a living trust and definitely taking notes.
See, took notes. Brother Ryan, if you went right now and you got big boy businesses, would your wifey be okay without you?
I actually have to watch when she cooks and smell it because I'm probably worth more dead than alive, boys.
Yeah. That's what I mean, yeah.
You know, my day job, my 9 to 5 is this exact stuff, Canadian laws, and there's some slightly different stuff. But you know, we have it set up where there's springing power of attorney. So should I become incapacitated or anything, she can handle my legal affairs. My investments slide over to hers, my tax free, like there's different laws in Canada for some of this stuff, a life insurance policy, our shared joint assets get divvied up, like it's all squared away. But I have the advantage of, you know, I went to school for business, and this is my literally talking about this is my 9 to 5 job. Is talking about investments and planning and mortgages and credit, and I'm a financial advisor for my 9 to 5. So, Smoke, you're 100% on point because I have these conversations. That's how I pay my mortgage, is having some conversations about trusts and wills and power of attorneys and all this kind of stuff. You got to have that set up. It's a boring, horrible adulting type conversation, but it's the boring side of looking after your family. Everyone wants to square up to look after their family, but nobody wants to go to a lawyer, spend $200 and get a POA for their family. Like, you know, because that's boring. It's not cool. No one wants to come in and talk to their financial advisor here and even pay a guy to set it all up for them. But they'll square up because someone looked at their wife, you know. But they won't square up.
That's why I said
a will.
Like, yeah. We at the age now. We got to look at it like for the aftermath. That, you know what I'm saying, the young generation. Like, hey, whatever happens, we got to make sure our family's straight. Think about all these bodybuilders. Let's be real. All the bodybuilders that died. You think they damn families got shit? Fuck no. Hopefully. No, unless they set it up right. But people don't be thinking because they thinking they ain't gonna never die.
May I make a counterpoint to that before I get my statement? To be honest, when you're on that level, you're probably thinking of your own ego.
That's what I'm saying.
A fucking god. You're thinking to yourself, I'm a fucking goddess. Nothing's gonna happen to me. And guess what? Something comes along and humble your ass real fucking quick. And we all need to be honest, before I make my statement, I think you asked the most fucking alpha question in the world. This fucking podcast. Boy, you step your game up. But to be honest, no for me, because unfortunately, I mean, my wife is a lot more successful than me, but I will suggest that she does something like that if I do go first, because my family is shady as hell. So I already told her if I go, let them know 3 to 4 days after I'm gone and let them know where you buried me at. If you choose not to follow these directions, I'm dead. You have to deal with that drama. So I'm going to remind her that, yes, you should set these things up because, hey, I may go first. I work a job where I carry a gun and put on a vest. At any time, anyone can always choose to take me out the game. That is the reality of what I signed up for. So, hey, man, thank you for asking that question. I think that was the most fucking alpha shit out there. Like Ryan said, a dude would be quick to swear up, but won't put nothing on no paperwork to make sure your family protected. What type of world we live in?
You got to do that. You got to protect your family, right? It's all about your family.
Facts. Next question. I saw this one on TikTok, and it was very interesting. If a man is having his wife pay 50-50 for the bills, is he still a man? Brother Steve.
I would struggle to hear anybody justify a response other than yes. Because in our current economy, with our current levels of inflation and shit, if you're out here and you're able to swing like a one household income because you're just on some grown man gangster shit, good for you, boo boo. Because I tell you, most of us need 2 incomes. And Norris, you already said your wife makes more money than you. So like, you know what I'm saying?
May I interrupt?
Yeah.
I'll put it like this. I, federal government contractor, I make $31 an hour to carry my lovely gun and show my ass up to work. Mm-hmm. Kimberly is a federal government employee. She's on a fucking whole different level. Right. I will have to work 2 jobs.
Correct.
Did you even keep up with her? There's no way possible that I can survive only paying 100% of these bills over here where we live at in our lovely suburbs. Correct. So I guess I'm not alpha.
That's what correct. So so I find the question rather silly because yes, if a household is splitting the bills 50-50 from 2 divided incomes, I would call that equity and equality. I wouldn't call that anything other than getting by and doing what you need to do in life. Because there are going to be situations where in some households the woman pays more than 50%. In some households, for example, when my son was born, neither my wife nor I got any maternity benefits of any kind. No paid leave, nothing of that sort, because good old USA. So when our son was 14 days old, she had to go back to work because she made significantly more money than I did. She made quite a bit more than I did. So financially, it made more sense for me to stay home, and I was my son's primary caregiver for his first 6 months while she went to work every day. And because I was taking care of my son and physically keeping him alive, like giving him actual life, I certainly didn't feel like less of a man. In fact, I felt like I was doing the man thing by doing what needed done to progress my family and to get to a point where once he got older, I was able to go back into the workforce and I was able to land a better job and kind of create a more equitable situation. But in the beginning, it certainly wasn't like that. And I still felt like a man.
Brother Ryan, 50-50.
50-50 down the line, 100% on purpose with me and my wife. She does make more money than I do too, and she is more successful and has a better job. Not super disparity, but she does make more than me. But we purposely set it up where we're 50-50 because we're a partnership trying to progress ourselves. And as well with the 50-50, there's no argument. She's got her money, I got mine. We chip into the house bills. We pay half and half. I live in one of the most expensive places on earth. And there's no single income families out here. Doctors or lawyers have roommates where I live, man. I live up in the Pacific Northwest where a house is $2 million and it's just ridiculous. So, that's what I mean. I know guys that are who make 6 digits and need roommates. So, it's 50-50. It's down to, my place is paradise. I'll send you all pictures, sitting in my backyard paradise with mountains and streams in the background and everything. But then I'll send you what my mortgage bill looks like. And you make, I'll take the Midwest in a second or something like that, right? But, we split it down the line because we're a partnership. And that's the main point. I don't think any of that applies. It's 2023, not 1923. If someone makes more than the other, you're a partnership. Hey, deal. If it's one way or the other, someone's raising the kids, doesn't matter who anymore. I think just to echo what Steve said, being a man is doing what needs to be done. And if something needs to be done, it's got to be done. That's the manly route. It doesn't matter who's cutting checks, man, right? It's about progressing your family as a team, as a unit forward.
DJ Smoke, are you balling like that, bro? Because this is the DMV. This is the DMV.
No,
We almost on some Ryan type stuff, but we gotta have big boy money. We want to keep our households intact. Are you balling like that? You don't need the 50-50 split?
I need a 50-50. You know what I'm saying? I
Need that.
Like, no, I'm not balling like that. But everybody be thinking I am. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not. I'm not. You know, no, I need it. But I live by myself, so I'm surviving. You know what I'm saying? I don't need nobody. But I would like to have a partner.
I know that's right. Take the electric bill, son.
Yeah, you know.
So, sir, you on TikTok, good buddy. These are the most alpha men I know. And all of them say, yes, we need help with those bills. The next situation I saw, which is probably one of my biggest reactions, a gentleman made a horrible mistake moving in with his lady. We don't know the circumstances. But once he pulled up at home, we don't know if he cheated, whether or not he lied, or whether or not he just didn't answer a text in a speedy manner. But she threw all his shit on the lawn. And my mama always told me, don't move in with no ladies. Have your own stuff. So, gentlemen, what would you do if you moved in with someone and when you came home, all your shit was on the lawn?
I would probably proceed to pick my shit up off the lawn and put it in my truck and store it somewhere, because at that point the relationship's over.
And would you make that horrible mistake, Steve? Would you make that horrible mistake?
That kind of brings me to the ultimate point of, I pride myself on choosing somewhat decent partners. I'm not saying that there's no world where you couldn't do something so egregious that is an appropriate response. I'm sure that there's something that a man has done somewhere to warrant that response from a woman. I myself don't engage in those actions, and the women I date aren't prone to those types of responses. But if I was faced with that, I would pick my shit up off the lawn and I would proceed to probably go to my mama's house, because I don't know where else I would go with all my shit.
Good point. Brother Ryan, would you make that horrible mistake? And what you gonna do once you make the mistake and you see your shit on the lawn?
Well, hopefully I wouldn't make the mistake of choosing a woman that would throw my shit on the lawn, even if I somewhat deserved it. Then secondly, because that's just juvenile. Nobody's getting ahead in life. Like, I'm not a big fan of like that kind of juvenile shit, keying cars and doing whatever relationships, putting up those big signs, throwing shit on the lawn. You want to break up. You know what I mean? If you do something that warrants some kind of situation like that, okay, fair, break up. Well, you know what I mean? But the shit on the lawn is just juvenile. So hopefully I wouldn't be in that situation. Wouldn't have a woman that would do that. But if I did do something like that, like Steve, I would pick my shit up and end up on one of your places, because I ain't got no family. So I'm heading to Florida, Steve. heading to Maryland. There.
It's cheaper than Maryland, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know.
Hey, man, I got a basement for you.
And then I'll pay
3 months.
And guess what?
You got 3 months to get
3
your
months.
shit together.
And I tell you what, I'll pay that electric bill.
Hey, say less.
You got your own shit, so are you gonna put somebody else's shit on the lawn?
Or maybe Smoke needs a roommate if that happens to me. Right?
Come holler at me.
You got your own shit down.
I got you.
Have you ever been in the position where you fucked up and you came home and your shit was on the lawn?
Never. Always have my own shit.
Always.
Boss. You know what I'm saying? I always have my own shit.
To be honest, the reason I started moving the way I started moving, because when I was younger, I used to like pay my mother mortgage. I used to pay her. She had to worry about shit. I was hood superstar when I was working in my first federal security job. But my mother hit me with some real shit. She was like, this is my house. And after that, I realized as a man, you have to have your own shit and stand on your own 2 feet. And even your mother will give you that reality check. So I know a woman who's not your mother, who did not give you birth, she will give you a reality check like putting your shit on the lawn because you didn't answer a text message speedy enough for her. Or you coughed wrong, so you got to fucking go. The next issue, Lord, we got to pray for her. Miss Sherry Shepard stated as a single mother that she needs married women to send their husbands out into the world to help out these single mothers with their issues. She need us to help her with the plumbing, to cut the grass, to mentor her children. So I'm going to spin it around. as men, are you willing to send your woman to a single man house to braid his daughter's hair, to help him wash the dishes and everything else that your wife do in the house? Are you willing to do that as a man?
I also have a hard time taking this question seriously because the obvious answer is no. I would never send my wife or force my wife to go anywhere and do anything for anyone. With regards to the original question or TikTok, I would say that societally we need to do a better job at picking some of the partners that we reproduce with, rather than saying that married men need to do more for single mothers. There need to be less single mothers. And that ultimately starts with the fact that we can choose who we have sex with and we can choose how we have sex. So I'm a big fan of personal accountability.
Steve, I said the same thing and I wasn't shit, but I'm gonna mind my business.
I don't want to go all Kevin Samuels on everybody, but like these women need to pick better men. Like, don't be a single mom. Like, you know.
Yeah, stop letting random dudes shoot up the club. That's what I said, but I'm gonna mind my business. Brother Ryan.
All right, like the same sort of thing. Don't get in that situation.
Correct.
Secondly, if they were friends or something like that, if my buddy had some daughters, and my wife could go teach them a lesson, absolutely. But I would never force her to or tell her to. But I mean, if it was some random person, no. If it was one of my bros or one of you guys was a single parent and, my wife could go teach your daughter how to braid hair, do whatever, absolutely. But that's something I would do because my brothers and are my extended family or my tribe or my people, right? So if you were in that circle and my wife agreed to do it, why not? If you were out of that circle, fuck it, you shouldn't have got knocked up in the first place.
PJ Smoke, I showed you the TikTok where Miss Shuri made her statement, but I'm going to throw it in reverse. Would you ask your woman to go to a single man house and help him out?
Fuck no.
I mean, with all his needs,
No, fuck no.
You sure? You know what I mean?
That my answer is fuck no.
Oh, and sorry, just to clarify, not sending my wife to handle his needs, the kids' needs. There's yeah. You see, notice there's a line there somewhere that's about this wide, but
That's true. Nah,
I'm gonna be as nice as I can. I'm not that saved yet. I'm not that saved yet. I recently sent you guys a text, and I really wanted an honest response. Should righteous men be capable of doing evil things to protect the ones they love? Brother Steve.
I'm immediately drawn to the fact that good and evil are relative to the viewpoint, like they're relative to which side of the coin you're on. Do I believe that good men should be able to do terribly violent things? Yes. Do I believe that they should be able to do terribly difficult things? Yes. I would go so far as to say that if our families are starving and there's only enough food for one child, your child's going hungry. And I'm just going to kind of put it at that. Like, that's where my mind's at. And I feel like every man needs to be like at that point. Regarding like the wording on the original question, I'm sorry. Hang on one second. Ryan, go ahead.
Steve got issues going on.
No, sorry.
A little coffee over there.
Yeah, I'm getting over a common cold, and so like I keep like getting this drip in my throat that like tickles and it makes me cough.
Damn Vernon, they got Steve. The Vernon, they got him.
Yeah. So, but I do believe that men need to be able to be able to do terribly violent things if the need arises, and we're fortunate to live in a society where the need is likely to never arise. However, those circumstances do come up, and I do believe that men should be able to handle their business, so to speak. And with regard to the original wording of the question, quote unquote, do evil things, you would think it was evil if I prevented your child from getting the food that my child needed. You would view that as an evil act. I would view it as good. So it kind of comes down to the standpoint, but I do believe that men should be capable and willing to do whatever it takes.
Bro, Ryan.
Yeah, I want to give a little bit more of a pragmatic answer. Guilt, risk, benefit ratio. What happened to my family? And is that whatever happened worth the amount of time I'd have to do to rectify that situation? Is really where that comes from, right? If because it would have to be something serious. Let's be honest here. I got a career, I got a life, I got a wife, I got, if something happened to her, absolutely. You have to have the ability to become a monster, but you also need the ability to show restraint. If what occurred isn't worth doing a dime or a nickel or how many years, right? Like someone just lips off your wife and you go frickin' pop him in the face and go to jail. Was that worth it? No, the manly thing would have been just shut the fuck up, not do anything and provide for your family, right? If you know what I mean, like if someone went and killed my wife, would I do scorched earth? Absolutely at that point. But I mean, you see where there's it's too big of a question or too broad. Some guy like asked, pass my wife on the ass in the club. Is that worth going to jail for? No, that's just ignorance, right? Like, so it's just vague. Yes, you should be able to rise to the occasion for whatever the occasion is, but knowing what that occasion is a skill unto itself, knowing the gravity of the situation.
DJ Smoke?
What's up?
You in space?
No. Just ask me now. Ask me a question.
Should you be capable of doing horrifying things for the betterment of your own family? The rest of the world may see it as evil, but it's for the betterment of your own family.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, why not? Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, of course.
I would second everyone's opinion because, as you personally know, I've been in a mental and a moral dilemma because I recently in Maryland, we have the right to carry anywhere we want to. And I live in a world of gray. So I'm like, yes, because I can do it, should I do it? But recently in Maryland, things have gotten interesting. Mm. And I hate to do so because I do it at work all day long, but I hate to do it in my personal life. But it looks like I may have to start carrying my CCW because the world right now has no morals. Mm. And the world is out there, and I must be a wolf. Yeah. So that's the best way to explain it. Because I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make sure me and Kimberly are okay. Now, recently, me and Kimberly was talking again. This is going to be my last question. She was stating, you know what I mean? Because I don't know how you guys operate in your household, the way me and Kimberly operate. DJ Smoke see it sometimes. I allow Kimberly to pretty much bully me, chase me around the house, do whatever she want to do to me. And that's the way, you know what I mean? I like to make her feel more safer around me. But she did make a statement, which was very true. And unfortunately for a boxer in our area, he found out that this type of stuff can end your career. So she made a statement, and she's like, if you chose to, you could crush me in the street slang. That means you could beat me up. So just because you have the ability or the strength to do something, should you have restraint when you know you don't need to be a bully at that time? Because I believe you should have restraint in everything you do. Just because you have the ability to do it don't mean you should do it. Because we're all probably stronger than most people walking on this earth. And we all can choose to be fucking assholes, but we choose to be good men for whatever reason. Brother right. Steve.
I feel like it's another question that's only really has one appropriate answer, which is that obviously you need to be able to practice discretion and restraint through experience and wisdom. Kind of to what Ryan's speaking on, like, to use the examples that he quoted earlier, a younger man might quote unquote set things off in the club, like if someone touched his woman, whereas as he gets older, he kind of understands the gravity and consequence of some of those situations and is able to practice restraint. And I believe that the best. I hesitate to quote Jordan Peterson because he's such a polarizing figure and people have such strong opinions on him one way or the other, and they tend to get confused in political ideology. But to quote Jordan Peterson, the best men are incredibly dangerous men who learn how to control it. Because if you're not dangerous, you're not a good man, you're a harmless man. Technically, you're still doing good things, but you're harmless. Versus the man who's capable of doing strong, terrible, and evil things, who chooses not to and restrains it. That is the actual virtuous good man. Because he has both in him, but chooses to only practice in one. And so I think that there's only really that acceptable answer to that question. But now that I've said that, I'll kick it off to Ryan.
I like it, baby. Brother Ryan, I like that one.
That's another one I take really seriously is restraint. Just because you can Doesn't mean you should ever in anything. If there's some tenets like enlightened self-interest, doing the right thing in the long term, even if it sucks in the short term, or you got to eat some crow. Or if, to put it in Latin, gravitas, dignitas, integritas are the three virtues of a Roman man. And gravity is knowing the gravity of the situation, when to take it seriously, when not to, when to act, when to sit, when to all that. And dignity and integrity are pretty obvious. But I don't know if you guys can see this, how seriously I take that lesson. Gravitas, dignitas, integritas, right across the belly, man. So those are the virtues that a man should have: gravity, dignity, and integrity at all times.
And you know, I have to close every podcast with some shenanigans. Last time Steve wasn't here, so he gets both of them. Ryan got the last one last time he was here. So, brother Steve, this is only for you because Ryan has already answered this question. Can the booty ever be too big for fucking doggy style?
Yes, for sure. Just only because I've come across women who are 600 pounds. And you know what I'm saying? Like I've seen women who I believe it would be physically difficult to achieve the end goal because of their sheer size. So out of necessity, I have to say that there is a line. But I will also say that for the majority of people that you would actually consider engaging in doggy style with, the answer would be no. The booty can't be too big.
I had to get that one off first.
Okay.
This is my last question from TikTok. I just now did a blind reaction to it, and I think the young lady's tripping, but I must ask you guys. And we're going to be open and honest, because the young lady just now stated that sometimes the coochie stink. So I need to know from my brothers, let's hold each other accountable. Have you ever ran into a stinky coochie, and what did you do?
Okay, that's an easy one. You just adapt the situation. Oh, baby, let's have a romantic shower. You just got to shift the situation, right? Like, blame it on
man to me, right?
blame it on yourself. Hey, if you're already in the situation to find that out, you're backing out at that point. No, you got to have there's 10 ways out of that situation truthfully, which would be like, ooh, let's go hit the hot tub.
I hate to give you this one, but your uncle will teach you something real quick. If you were ever single again, you rub your finger at the bottom and you do a sniff test.
I think you just start in the shower. That just solves that. Like we've talked about this several times in this so far on this podcast about not being in the situation in the first place, right? And having the wherewithal to not be in that situation. So start the situation off with a romantic candlelit shower and stuff like that. Then you're never going to have that problem, right?
So you're going to douche her beforehand? You're going to hit her with the douche?
Hey, hit her with the bar soap in a sexy way, right? Like there's 1,000 ways out of that situation, boys.
Oh, I'm going to die. Steve? Ryan said he's going to hit him with the shower.
All right. So I'm assuming that the question is assuming that you're running into this in the wild, that this is like a new sexual partner for you. That this isn't like your life partner having like a fucking yeast infection or something.
You met her at the club. It was the right time, right place. She had on the right outfit. You took her home, said, I'm about to burn this joint up.
Okay, so now to that point, I got the Uber. I took her home. She's in my crib already. Wait a second. Now we start getting into Ryan's point of like what I'm supposed to do, put her on the couch or call the Uber again, or like how do you see your way out of this? So I think at that point we have to get into a conversation about how severe is the problem, and is this she's been dancing all night and she's been sweating all night and so she needs a shower and that's all it is, or is this like there's something wrong downstairs and that's a no-go? But if we're talking like she's been sweating all night on me, dancing on me, yeah, let's hit the shower. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of depends on what we're talking about here. If we're talking about like an STD, gonorrhea, some shit like that, that's a hard no. If we're talking about like we can fix body odor, we can fix being nasty. Like, all right. So it just depends kind of on the situation.
That's a fair point on the actual medical condition versus the swamp condition, you know?
Yes,
and then,
right.
you know, and how many times you pulled your drawers off and it's been a little swampy after the club,
Hey,
boys?
'cause
Like,
I did-
you can't judge like that, man.
Because I date powerlifters, you know what I mean? Like we do sweaty gym sessions and shit. Like, so I understand that sometimes you got to hit the shower ASAP. I get that.
Hey, Brother Steve, to be honest, I asked that question. There's still 50-50 to this day of how many showers should you take in a day. So I'm going to ask you guys.
Yeah.
How many showers should you take in a day?
As many as is
24
necessary.
hours. How many showers you taking?
I'll say you should take as many showers as you need to take. So if you're one of those dudes that's out here grinding, getting it, like working in concrete, like all that kind of shit, you're sweating, you come home, shower. Maybe you go to the gym after you work out, you come home, you shower with your nasty ass. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe when you wake up, you rinse off to wake up because you got to wake up early. So that's 3 right there. But would I say that an office worker needs to shower 3 times a day who works in the AC? No. I think it just depends. As many times as you need to is all I'm going to say.
God bless you, Steve. Because
Yes.
some people, not going to say the name, 24 hours. Brother Ryan, how many showers should you take in a day?
I do work in a nice office on a nice office chair in AC. And it's funny because the answer is either 1 or 2, but it doesn't have to do with my job or gym schedule per se or anything. It's whether I'm super supplementationing or not. And then that requires more showers in a day due to the production of oils in the skin. Let's go science on that one, right? But when I'm not supplementing, 1 shower a day is fine unless I had a particularly...
One shower a day, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I work in an office, man. I don't get dirty. I don't get stinky, man. You know.
That's what I'm talking about. 1 shower a day.
Yeah.
Send me all the extra shit.
For most
Like
people,
right now,
1.
we are still 50-50. And I'm very concerned because as a person who works out, wears a bulletproof vest, I take sometimes 3 in a day. But hey, God bless you guys. I take 1 before I leave the house to go to work. I took a shower that night. I'm still technically clean, but no, I take a shower before I leave the house. And guess what? After I wear that hot, stinky vest, I take another shower. But hey, God bless you guys with that 24-hour period of being hot, sweaty, with your balls sticking to you at night. Hey, man, God bless you, man.
but like Ryan doesn't wear a vest. He works in the AC. Like he's
Fuck
big.
that AC, Steve.
That's what I mean.
balls
Like,
still
And
sweaty.
guys, I also live in Canada. It's cold up here, man. There's no getting sweaty. Like like the Arctic out here, man. I'm up in Canada. Like there's some regional things there. Like Steve should probably shower more than all of us in Florida there.
Yeah,
But,
for sure. And I do concrete. Like I do custom concrete and shit. So I do end up taking multiple showers a day, almost every day.
Well, before we close, one thing I thought was the funniest shit I ever seen in my fucking life was Ryan fucking meme where he wrote on his fucking hand and he drew Steve's name on it and he said fucking Florida man. Fucking funniest shit ever.
Yeah. I don't remember what I was doing, but I was somewhere with somebody and it was occurring in real time, like through a sequence of updates. And I was just trying to keep it together. I think it was some kind of work thing, some kind of work holiday thing or something along those lines. Yeah, that was.
I can't remember what started that was some meme about that guy that tattooed UFC on the back of his hand.
The
And
gloves.
I was like, that's just a shill move. Like nobody should tattoo a corporate brand on their name and all that. And then Steve made some snotty comment, so I drew Pruit on the back of my hand like a glove.
That's right.
The funny part about this story carries on, and this is why Steve's laughing so hard. I did that at work in the break room, and I couldn't wash it off in time, and I had to go to my next meeting with the back of my hand all covered in magic marker with Steve's name on it. So I was all trying to keep my hand under the table and everything like that, not reach with that hand, and I got it mostly off, but it was pretty funny, and I know that's why he was pissing himself, was because I had his name on the back of my hand for a business meeting for like an afternoon. So there you go, Steve.
In closing, I hate to say this, Black America, this is the ultimate example that not everything is fucking racism. And I hate to, bring this up, but once again, TikTok, 2 ladies were on a fucking train and I had to educate the world about federal government procedures. And if it's one thing that Norris Shaw said, no, it's federal government procedures. So I will like to educate the world. Next time you bring your pet on a train that's run by the federal government, you make sure that your pet is housebroken before you bring that pet on a federal government train. If you do not do so, somebody who represents the federal government, who wears a gun and a badge like myself, will educate you and tell you that you have to take that pet off of federal government property. You can come back without your pet. Then you're going to have to figure that shit out on a train. But if you come to one of my federal government buildings, black, white, whoever, or non-binary person, and your dog shits in our lobby, you got to leave. Have a nice day.
I feel like that's
all I'm
just.
saying.
I feel like that's
Steve,
just polite
what do you have
manners.
to say in closing?
I
I
feel
had
like
to get that one off because my own people piss me off sometimes. But God bless them. God bless them. God bless them. Brother Steve, what do you have to say in closing after I educate the world about federal government procedures about pets?
Just that I don't feel like you can ever have too many discussions surrounding responsibility and masculinity and what it means to be a man, because in my opinion masculinity is it's not hot right now. Like, it's hard out here for a masculine man. And I lift weights and I like guns and I have abs and I'm quote unquote stereotypically masculine, and that's perceived negatively for a lot of society. And so I think any kind of like discussions we can have surrounding this topic is definitely going to be a good thing.
Right now, all of us are in someone point of view. We're all toxic.
Right.
And the one thing I realize about you, if you look through someone point of view, you will always be looking for validation, because everybody know I love the trans community. So I will post something in support of them. And I will post something when the fuckery is fuckery. And either way I go, either I'm anti-trans or I love the lady boys. So you cannot please the world. And we all know who I really love. So I don't even dignify that type of stuff with answers. But I realize you cannot look for validation with these world constructs, because we'll always be looking for it, especially as men. Because right now, it's not good to be a man who says, I want to keep my family safe and provide for them. Brother Ryan, what do you have to say in closing?
I'm going to roll with the same thing there with Steve. It's not cool to be a man right now in a traditional sense. And some of that's going to be our fault. Some of that's the world's fault. And we need to always have an open channel for men's health issues, men's mental health issues, and including being traditionally masculine. I'm in the same boat. I'm covered in tattoos. I'm a big gym bro. I even have a traditional masculine job, like all down the line. And, really, and I want to live by some things traditionally masculine. Like my motto this year that I'm trying with my New Year's resolution is be the man that I needed. And in any situation I can, whether that's fuckery or whether that's a kind word or whether that's a kick in the ass or whether that's stepping up for somebody, I'm going to try every year in every situation I can to be the man I needed. And that's some old school shit. That's not new school shit. And I'm going to, that seems to be downtrodden nowadays, that kind of attitude. If something goes south nowadays, I think the appropriate response is call your lawyer and have them canceled. I don't know. When do people stop manning up for things, right? But I think we need to have more open and honest, unpacked discussions about everything and in all of our lives as men, and sort of stick together through these sort of tricky times to navigate politically or socially. My regular life is charmed. I'm blessed. But, we can always improve anything and be out there being the men we needed.
That's what I'm talking about. In closing, let's all learn a lesson from Tory Lanez, YSL, and that's hold each other accountable, because these young men made horrifyingly bad decisions, and now they have to serve possibly a long time in jail and learn the hard way from their bad decisions. So one, for the gentlemen out there, that conversation with your lady may get heated, but walk the hell away. That's the best thing you can do. For this thuggery stuff that's going on out here in the world, it's all make-believe. As we can see, everybody now is running to drop dimes on everybody, so no one's standing 10 toes down. So let's go out here and get real big boy jobs and stop trying to be wannabe gangsters on these streets, because it's not worth it. DJ Smoke, you got anything to say in closing?
No, I mean, I'm going to piggyback on what you said. Man, listen, man. Ain't nothing out here. Nothing is out here. Get your money. Get your money. All that other bullshit, fuck all that.
I'm gonna take a break up there. So are you gonna make it through the TikTok we gotta do later?
Yes, because I'm ready for it.
This gonna be interesting. I might not be able to post live for about 3 weeks after this TikTok. But hey, guys, man, as a grown man who holds himself accountable, I love all you guys, and I try to tell you that all the time because it's truthful and it's honest. And as men, you should tell someone that you love them and be open and honest about it and not be ashamed. So I appreciate you guys. We will do this again in 3 months. So until that next time, salute.
I see y'all guys later.
Your ass drunk and shit. They said that hitty. I just started laughing.